I will be getting the script from Simon on December 1st, and I will start breaking it down and figuring out what characters and such are going to be in it. Simon Rumley and I have done Red, White, and Blue together, which you need to see. He's very gritty. He's very fantastic. Okay, I'm sorry. Here you go.
Here, just give it to us and we'll hand them down.
Okay, good. Do that. Let's just put them in all the chairs.
You can give them to Trish.
Yeah. But when I'm looking, like when I get that script, part of my breakdown process is I'll be pulling sides. How familiar are all you guys with auditioning? Have any of you done who's auditioned?
Workshop on basically the same kind of thing.
Okay, so you've done auditions. Well, I will pull my sides, and I will try to pull sides that give me a 4-minute period that I have you on camera, and I will try to find a character arc, if I can, somewhere in the script, so I can see if you've got some chops, and you can be one way and then you can be another way. But I have to, say I have 7 roles, and I get 2,000 for every role to go through. So I have to go through and pick. And the very first thing I have to do is, how many days do I have to audition? Do I have 2 days? Do I have 4 days? How long do I have? How many minutes are in that day? It breaks down to minutes. So for each, then I'll divide it out. After I get my minutes down, I'll read the script, I'll read those sides. I will time how long it takes me to read those sides. I will give us X amount of minutes to get you in the door off deck, give you your direction, get your slate. Does everyone know what a slate is?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Not everybody? I'll say, okay, I'll be behind the camera, and this is the way most do it. I do not like your agency name, because I feel like your name and your agency name sometimes run together. So you come in the door, and I'll say, hi, take your mark, please. Because everything is so tightly timed, you're going to feel like we're just pushing you through. And we are, because we want to get as many opportunities for actors as possible out of this. So I'll bring you in, take your mark. Your mark will be a piece of tape on the floor, and it will look, just like a little T. And what it means is your feet go up and 2 feet behind this. You only have a space about this big for your audition. And some people feel like they can't move at all, but you can move quite a bit in this space. So go ahead and move your body. Don't just stand there like, so I'll say, thank you, slate please, name. Sometimes I'll say name only, or if I have a whole lot of very familiar with me actors coming in, I'll just say your name please. And so they'll state their name. Hi, I'm Karen Hallford. Profiles please. Turn, beat. Turn, beat. Turn, beat. You're giving me a beat because I'm bringing the camera in and out. By the time I'm coming back to the last place, I have pulled that camera out and pulled him way out on you to get your full body, and then I've pulled back in to where I start like this and I end like this. So that's why it's really important for you to do that. Sometimes someone comes along like a big Chevy commercial I did, and they want to know what you look like in the back. So I'll say, slate please, would you please do your profiles and give me a 360. So what I mean then, and what everyone means then is, beat. Beat. Give it that beat, even if you have to stomp your foot like I just did, but give it that beat. And don't take it too long, because we'll just cut it off. The next thing is when you come to an audition, please, please, please do not be intimidated by the fact that the person, the casting director, very seldom will be looking at you. We'll be looking at our monitor, because I'll have my laptop open in front of me, I'll have the lights on you, I'll have the camera on you. The camera is directly connected to my laptop, because the technology today, our client could very likely be looking at you in 10 minutes, unlike the way it was very few years ago, where we had to do the tape, lay it down on a DVD, get the DVD to the overnight, FedEx it out, and pray that it got there by 10 o'clock the next morning. I've spent more than one unhappy moment hanging on the fence at FedEx, begging them to take my parcel. Because what they had asked us for, like headshots cost you about $50 or so a piece by the time you get done having the prints made, and have your resume stapled to the back. Everybody know how you should do that? For those of you who don't, here is my resume and here is my headshot. I will put them back to back. I will put a staple in the top and the bottom. My headshot doesn't have an agency name on it, but it does have my name printed on it. And here's why. Your resume that's on the back will have your name as well. It should have your name, because it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen that the client takes it and goes and lays them down and then watches your audition. And they look at your picture and look at you and look at your picture and then look at your resume and read it while you're doing your audition. So that will be one of those intimidating situations. Don't let it intimidate you. Sometimes it'll just be myself and an assistant. And sometimes, as in the case of large national commercials, I may have to have it in a banquet room where I have the advertising agency, the production company, and the director. And did you have a question?
I did. So it's preferred that it's not on both on one sheet, double-sided, but stapled.
For your sake, it's better if it doesn't, because when you're changing your because of that, because they like to pull it apart and lay it down, if you've got it printed on the back of your headshot, the minute you book something new, that headshot becomes obsolete. So you have just printed on the back of a picture, and now it's obsolete. If you have the capabilities to do the printing yourself, then it's cheap and you might as well, but most people send it to a printer and that's expensive.
So I've been told 4 corners as well.
There are some casting directors that like 4 corners.
Okay.
I don't,
So
because
the
of 2
director, the
corners.
casting director will determine that?
No,
or
no,
agency?
you just bring it however
However
you
you
do.
bring it, okay.
And like, I'm telling you, like, you've seen a workshop with me now, I like
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I like 2. When you have 4 staples, there's way more possibility for them to get hung up.
Yeah.
So 2 holds it together, really nice and neat, and it's easy to get it apart, and it's easy. When I have a stack of headshots like this, it's better if they don't
And
stick
they're all
to each
8 by
other.
10.
8 by 10,
Cut these.
color. So,
One
does
question.
anyone know anything about me?
Yeah.
I'm the casting
Other than what I
director.
read.
Okay, well, you guys, if you've read my bio, then you know. I don't like to do that part. Anyone willing to just open IMDb and look up Karen Hallford? And you can see it. I'm serious, there's a reason I'm behind the camera, not in front of it. What questions do you have?
I have one. I'm sorry, back to the headshot.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm no tech. So I have my headshots, but how do you get the name printed on it? Like, does Precision Camera, can they put your name
They
on it?
can, anyone you have, do a headshot, do a headshot for you, you can.
Okay.
It's really, really best to have photo quality and not a lithograph. It is now, it is a lot less likely that I'm gonna have to take a headshot. Once upon a time, I had to get like 5 headshots from everybody who came in, because they had to be mailed all over the place. A lot of times now, I don't even take a headshot, and you may hand me one, and I'll say, no, I don't need one. Because when my package goes off and you're on it, it includes your picture, your resume, everything, your stats. Put your sizes on, guys, please. Put your sizes on and keep them up to date. Because
the
for
resume?
on your IMDb Pro,
Oh,
or
IMDb.
what is it called for you?
Casting networks?
Actors Access.
Uh-huh.
Actors Access and casting networks. Put yourself on there for background as well. Anytime you get on a set, there are some people that'll say, oh, don't do background work, you're gonna get done. Bull. It's like a free session that you may be paid and fed to do. So get on set. You'll learn about the different jobs. You'll see what's happening. You'll learn and be comfortable on set.
You said Actors Access, I know that. What was the other one?
Casting networks.
Casting network, that's right.
And there's some other things. Make sure you keep your IMDb totally up to date. I have recently encountered some actors that had no idea how important IMDb is. It has moved to be the industry standard. I myself, like I had a request for Mel Gibson on a film not long ago. I literally called his manager up and I could hear the peon, the underling, whatever you want to call him. I could hear that person deciding whether or not I was getting through. And so, yes, absolutely. And that's the same thing as once you get on a set. Be nice to absolutely everyone. I'm going to say that over and over again. And try to learn the names if you can. There's only one of you and there's a whole bunch of them, I understand, but try to learn their names. That will help you so much. I myself saw people on the panel today and I'm like, Andrew Ritchie, God, I know that name. He hired me when he was still with, he happened to mention that he was with, I've already forgot. Come on. He was with a company out of Los Angeles before he moved here. They literally had hired me to do something for them, and I remembered his name. I was looking at his name, and I was placing it with the emails, and couldn't figure out how, anonymous. Content anonymous or something like that, but questions?
You said earlier to put your sizes on Actors
Your
Access.
sizes on Actors Access.
What is this size?
I'm 6'2", and my shirt size is this, my pants size, because there, and it is, I went whenever they ask me. Sometimes whenever I'm getting a cast list together, they literally make me go to you first and make sure your sizes are all accurate before they'll even consider you, because they may already have purchased. Their wardrobe department may have already purchased. Another unfun thing that's been happening lately that didn't used to happen, as things get faster and faster, they used to have a real order about them, but now there's no. Okay, guys, what time is it?
I brought you water.
What did you say?
I brought you water.
And I was gonna hit you up to help me too. Well, you guys have these. Well, thank you, that was smart. He didn't let me say no, he just handed me the water.
That's right.
So, anyway, next question.
So last time I was casting, I got 2 actors who had their headshot glued to their resume. Is that
Badly.
ever acceptable, or
Never.
they're just out of the loop? Okay.
They're just out of the loop.
They didn't get the
Why
part.
would you do that? What happens? What happens to that glue? Yeah, it does that.
It'll just
It
rip
goes
them
right-
apart if you try
Yeah,
to.
and you can't rip them apart if you want to, and lay them down and look at them. And if someone does that with your headshot and resume, that's a really good thing, because they really like you. If you see the heads like looking down and looking at your headshot and everything and your resume while you're reading, I mean, don't be second guessing what's happening, because you never know. I mean, truly, you never know, I never know till the final answer comes in. Because I may have 3 people that have gotten back with me and said, oh, we love so-and-so, we want so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. Well, person number 4 weighs in, who has the cloud over the other 3, and it's completely a new person. Do you have any idea how jobs are bid and how casting works or anything like that? Well, it's good for actors to know, because it makes the playing field more even for you to understand. The casting directors, and there's like 6 of us, major casting directors in Texas. We bid against each other on a regular basis. So-and-so from Connect the Dots. Wes calls and he says, Karen, I need a bid for, okay, that's the production company. The production company is doing their bid to get whatever job they're calling me about. And they're querying me about the talent and about what the average rate would be to be able to hire the talent to do this, that they're inserting in their bid. If they get the job, I get the job. If they don't get the job, I don't get the job. Then there's the second stage that happens sometimes. Maybe the production company is completely confident they already know all that. Maybe they've recently been doing a lot of work and they're already familiar with the rates and the talent pool in this area. So they'll completely skip that step and go ahead and submit their bid with confidence. And then they pick 2 or 3 of us casting directors and they have us bid against each other for it. So like, I get the same thing. I get the call while I'm in the bathroom, and I see the phone, and I'm like, it's Los Angeles, oh crap, I have to take this, run out the hall, and talk to them, and literally, right then, it's whether or not I even get a shot at the job on how I handle that call. Same as an actor. I mean, you're there in the audition, you're on the hot seat, and somebody is judging you, and it's very hard. And I admire you, and it's a numbers game. If you want to be an actor, you need to go on as many auditions as you can, because and you put everything you can into that audition before you go in the door. As you walk out that door, you start forgetting about that audition. Because if you, as Carlton can tell you, if you mull over and wish and hope and think about this audition, it can drive you crazy. And it may come down to something as simple as, oh, they like the jawline on this person better than the other, or we need the person to be this ethnicity because these other three people are that. It is so specific. Here you go. You got it? It's already handed out? Excellent. Okay, I'll look at my notes then. Training. Training. It's Mel Gibson still trains guys. I said his name earlier, and I was so glad when they're willing to consider for this project that I have in the works. Everybody trains. Gone on a 6-week actors training course or 2-week or a weekend workshop and decide they're an actor. You have to keep doing it. You need a specific coach that you really like and you really trust, who pushes you against the limits of your comfort zone so that you're constantly growing and changing and developing your actor's toolbox. Because that little bag of acting tools you have is all you've got. And you've got to keep that thing primed. You heard people talk about long periods of time. I may have an actor that calls me up and says, Karen, are you mad at me? You know, because I booked him on several things, but I haven't needed a Hispanic male between 40 and 50 for several jobs. Now think about it. Each job comes in, and it's only got a limited amount of cast. So I'm not going to hit every ethnicity and every age group for maybe 4 or 5 auditions in a row, maybe 6, maybe the whole year. I don't call on Asian males 35 to 40. It's not, I mean, that's just, sometimes I go through this period where it seems like phone call after phone call is all about ethnic ambiguity. So that leaves out anybody who's got blue eyes, blonde hair, or anything that puts them in a specific group. All right, let's see. Like you, I made a note of that. Make sure everybody likes you. Don't go overboard with them when you come in the door, because remember I told you the story about how well, you people that are late, I get a script.
I need this. I was late because nobody likes me. So please tell me again.
I read the script. If they let me, I'll pull my own sides. Sometimes the client pulls the sides. Then I time the sides. I read the sides with my assistant, and we time it. And then I time how long it takes me to walk and get them in and out of the door. And then I time how long it takes me to give them direction. And you may even get an eye roll or two if you ask an extra question, even though it's a good idea if you have anything in your mind that you really need to question. But we'll go, yeah, okay. We may have seen 125 people already, so please forgive us sometimes, you know, for being a little human like that. We tried very, very hard to give you as much energy and enthusiasm on audition number 121 as we did on audition 1. Not always going to happen. There's also times that you'll come in the room and you'll feel like you've just entered somebody else's private party because the assistants and I have some little story and we're to each other. Again, please don't ever do not read too much into it. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard come back from an acting class, so-and-so said that Karen Hallford did this. I really blew it. And I'm like, oh my God, where did this come from? What are you doing? doing? Don't make up what I'm thinking. I might be thinking, God, I'm hungry. Am I gonna be able to get out the door to go to the bathroom anytime soon? You know, I could be thinking those things, but you see this look and you think, I don't like you. It has nothing to do with that. I will
You
go
like
home.
me?
I will go home after an audition. Like, you can talk to me in the afternoon after an audition, and I can't tell you one thing about all the people I've seen that day. But then when I sit down and rewatch all those auditions, because when I mentioned earlier that, you know, maybe your audition is gone in 10 minutes. The truth of the matter is I will delay it if possible until I have a second watch. Because if there's something that needs to be edited out, I like to have an opportunity to do it for you. Because your best foot forward is my best foot forward. The better talent does, the better I do. It's really that simple. The more likely I get the chance next time when that production company is looking for a casting director, they're going to go, Karen Hallford, yes, let's go call her. Okay? You got a question. I know you do.
Question.
Question. Any question?
I've heard people say that when you walk in a room, you're not supposed to shake hands or wear a perfume or cologne. I've heard people say that you're not supposed to take the sides in with you having in your hand. I've heard people.
Oh my God, each one of those is a good point. Okay. Don't shake the casting director's hand. I talked to Kira Akai in New Mexico.
Why did they kiss her ring? I
yesterday.
figure you guys are gone.
Well, Kira, I talked to her yesterday. She's in New Mexico. She works with Joanna Bolden a lot. But I called the casting director and she was like, oh my God, I'm so sick. I can't even work. She has just lost the opportunity. If we can't speak and we're not healthy, we're not working. It's really, I fortunately have had assistants where one time I kind of sat off in a corner and let them conduct the whole thing and I just watched. But for the most part, a sick casting director is a non-working casting director. So the perfume is just a thing. Some people get headaches from perfume. So, you know, it's just in your best interest not to walk in the door and knock them over. And what was the next thing?
Sides in my hand. Can I take my sides in with me, or do you want it memorized every time, every word, exactly as the writer wrote it?
You, as an actor, if you see those sides, if the writer is the director, those words, you freaking better get those exact words because they are in love with their script. But a director, he doesn't care. If the words change up a little bit. Now, a world of paradox and ironies, if you know the material really well, you can slide them by. So like you forget something about where you are, but you know where your character's going, roll with it. Keep going with it. Don't stop and never say I'm sorry. Because I may be getting some of the greatest footage of the day from you right now, and that doesn't matter. You don't know. Don't second guess yourself and don't second guess what the camera's seeing or what we're seeing. Try. I want to show you guys a demonstration. Pretend you're a camera. Pretend you're this camera. What happens every time if I don't know my lines and I'm looking down? What's happening? What's happening, cameraman?
Losing eye contact.
I'm breaking my connection because I jump around a lot and I move, and this is the way I am. You'll see this every single time. That's why I'm so exhausted at the end of the day. However, this is what you get when you're on stage. You get to use your physical presence and yourself, but the camera brings it down to here. And I need to see the truth in your eyes. I have literally had, and thank God the talent didn't know. I've had a director having me pull down to one eye in every single audition. If he didn't believe that one eye, that was it. We were going on to the next one. If you are, okay, there are some CDs, well, they're brutal. They don't care how you feel. I do, though I've already told you the faux pas of sometimes tiredness and all that will cause us to not be so wonderful, but I care how you feel. So I am going to try to give you a courtesy audition. If you walk in the door and the director has I've already during the last 10 auditions figured out that you're walking in the door and your type isn't right based on what they've said to me, we are going to still have an audition. We are not going to turn you away. We will not make you walk out that door without getting your time in front of the camera. But we will cut it off as quick as we can, because the director or producer or whatever will be getting annoyed. Look like your headshot. I cannot tell you. I literally have gotten in trouble before because somebody walked in the door and they had gained 50 pounds since their last audition, and they walk out and I get the, why did you bring this person in? Like, you know, my fault. Yes.
Do I dress the part? I'm gonna freak a cowboy for you. Should I dress in a cowboy hat and a big buckle and wear spurs?
Most of the time, does your agent send you the breakdown?
She does.
Most of the time, and I can only speak for myself, I write, when I want you to dress like the character, I put it right there. I just always say, dress like the character, or I don't even remember how I put it. Dress
The part.
Yeah, I do. I like you. I've had a girl come in and book a national commercial because she was the only one of the day who came in with a gardening apron on and tools and all that stuff. And she booked it because, guess what? Advertising agencies have no imagination. No kidding. They really have no imagination. They want it to walk in the door and say, hello. And that's dumb. You wouldn't think, you'd think it was not that way.
Well, and that makes it seem like you've done your research.
Yeah, but there's not much research. When I've only sent out 3 lines and audition at 3:10, you don't know. You have to kind of make it up. Unless we give you a description.
Right.
Yeah, but if we give you a description and you can dress like that, go for it.
So do I treat you like my girlfriend and call you the next day and see how it went?
No. No calls. No calls. Thank you. Thank God. See, I knew I needed you to help me. A job interview in the real world. Job interviews, they kind of let you know, like, well, we're going to have a decision in 5 days, and, you know, and sometimes they'll even call you and let you know that you didn't get the job. It will never happen in this business. Ever, ever, ever. You will not. We will not talk to anybody again. I mean, sometimes there's friends, like Carlton, he gets called. But, you know, we're moving on, you know? We're in the next stage. We're in the next job. We're in the next prep. We're running it through, waiting for decisions, and it's over. So never, ever call. Don't even call a casting office. I can't tell you how annoyed I am when someone calls up and said, I'm looking for acting work and I want to be an extra and this is my type. And it's like, well, get yourself on Actors Access. When I need this character, I will go reach out for you. Demo reels, that would be the next thing. How much do demo reels really help? Well, they do, and they don't. And here's why. Sometimes I'm just jacking around and I have plenty of time and I see a demo reel come in and I click and I watch it because I have the time. Other times demo reels come through, and if it's for a 3-year-old girl, and I don't need any 3-year-old girls, I'm not going to watch it. It's going to just go by. So it doesn't. It's sort of the same thing as sending thank you cards. Little postcards. I'm going to tell you what happens, and I love them, but don't expect it to be getting you a job, but expect it to be, what was his name, Buzz. I'll skip to something else. There was a guy named Buzz. He doesn't act anymore, and he had little pads. We call them Buzz pads, but he had his picture on it and his name, Buzz Rom. And he'd go around to all the casting offices and he'd leave all these little pads. I saw Buzz Rom's face every day. And you just saw, I couldn't remember.
Note to self, order notepads.
Yeah. What it does, I mean, this is essentially what happens. I get the stack of mail. I've got headshots that are mailed. That, to me, if you can get postcards made, the headshots in the mail are kind of a waste of money, but they get treated the same way. I take the mail, I look at it, I open it, and I look at it. I look at the back, I read it, and then it goes right to the trash. And you say, God, that's terrible. Well, you've just gotten a C. I mean, you've just gotten a reminder. You just reminded me you're in the market. So when someone starts, you know, a job comes in and I'm like scanning my mind on actors, I will be doing two things. I may see you, which is the best, the most likely. When I see all those, it looks different for you than it does for me. When I open the page in Breakdown, and I use Breakdown the most, I like Breakdown better than Casting Networks. Though Casting Networks has a nice platform, Breakdown can do some things that Casting Networks can't. But when I open it, I see row after row after row of your headshots. The more times you can get my eye to stop on a person I recognize, the better. That second that I hesitate on your headshot, it might be the difference between booking an audition or not. But you heard the numbers? Know that if you get an audition, you have already won because you have just competed. There are maybe 1,500 other people out there that wanted that same slot and they didn't get it, you got it. And for God's sakes, never get an audition and then just think, well, it'd be more convenient for me because it's not that it's that easy for me to change around all the auditions. And never, ever don't show up because you have just cheated yourself and every other actor. And not only that, and if you think we're on the phone, in the audition, I'm on the phone. Where is so-and-so and why haven't they shown up with your agent? So your agent knows you just didn't show up too. So, yes.
So do you have a preference between agentless actors versus ones that have agents?
Oh,
So
a lot of times we go only to the agent, to the representing talent, because you've got skin in the game. It's sort of the same thing as, let me think of something. People who have invested in something are more likely to show up on time and prepared, and yes, it's worth it to spend that time. You get in a script the night before. I can't, really well-trained and skilled actors, they can learn 5-6 pages of dialogue just like that. I mean, it's because it's a skill. And so yeah, every chance you get, learn it. Don't just, back in the day it was like, well, for a commercial they can read the script, and for for a feature audition, or they say, like if a talent comes in, don't say this, please people, even if it's true. Oh, I just got the sides last night. Well, to my way of thinking, you've had, 12 hours you could have learned this. You know what I mean? There are, actors that are so well trained that they literally, I can name some, John,
You can name them?
John Michael Davis, there we go. John Michael Davis is one of them. He is so skilled that he could hold his script right here and he can literally check it out and the camera can't even see him do it. So that is a skill. And that's a lot of training. But remember, Al Pacino still goes to his coaching sessions. Yes.
Can I throw a little preview out?
Yes.
Because you're on it. So on Actors Access, for example, I know many of you have an account there, and you're wondering why people get seen all the time and get booked all the time. So in Actors Access, there's two things that will move you up in the list. First of all, the top tier is those that have a demo reel and a slate. Then the next group down from that is just those that have a demo reel, and the last is slate. And those of you who have nothing on there, you're in the very bottom. So people ask me all the time, Carlton, why do you get always called in for auditions? Why do you get booked? Yes, I'm sleeping with all of them. But other than that, the truth is, I do what they ask me to do. Actors Access says, if you want to be seen first, and it's random after that. It doesn't say, well, he's been booked more, he's an A-lister, he's a B-lister. It doesn't do that. But it does separate out. So what she sees on her side is different from ours. In fact, they can put notes on their side that always comes up to them. It doesn't come up when other agents look at it. So she puts on there, never use Carlton again. He is terrible at memorizing lines.
He's a Richard.
He's a Richard. Yeah, he's a big Richard. No. So again, excuse me. But anyway, again, the idea is that she can put notes on there. And when it comes back to her, she sees it. Now, it won't go to Vicki Boone and Beth Sepko, but it will come back to her. Notes will always come back to her. So if it says never use again, she may have not gone 6 months because she didn't need you. She may have gone 6 months because she doesn't want you. So go through there and make sure you clean house. A demo reel and a slate takes you no time at all. Demo reel 1 minute or less. Everybody asks me, well, I haven't done anything. Then go do a student film. Go find there's always students asking me every day, can you be in my film? Yes, I'll be glad to do your film. Why? Parts of my demo reel. I haven't played a psychopath killer yet. I haven't played gone bad yet. So student films will do that for you. So demo reel, slate, you're up to the top of the list. Next group is demo reel only. Next group is slate, and if you have nothing on there, you're in the very bottom, and don't be surprised if you're not booked.
And if you don't have any skills, if you can ride a unicycle and you can ride that unicycle well, now don't just if I've only gone on a unicycle once in my life, but if you can literally proficiently ride a unicycle, I read those. We have to read those. Say I have something come along that needs a strong swimmer, I'll look and see. So everything you can do, blow bubbles and pop gum, put it on there. If you can play a harmonica, put it on there. You made me think of something else that was really important a minute ago. Demo reels. Demo reels, 1 minute. Do not make it too long. It's not going to get watched, and we're going to click off of it because we click on and we click off and we click on and we
Best
click
at
off.
first because it's 9 seconds, right? Your average about 9 to 10 seconds, right? So best at first. Don't build it up. It's not a movie.
And don't use any footage that was just a great scene you did in class. It's got to be actual jobs. It's got to be you working with somebody else. You can't just, do King Henry in your living room.
I have a question about the reels. Would you prefer to see, like if you have stunts and dancing on your reel as opposed to your dramatic acting, would you rather see those separate depending what the role calls for? Or could you incorporate a little bit in your main reel?
Put it in. Put it
Into
in.
your main reel?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless, of course, it's too long.
Yeah, I mean,
Remember,
keep it
you've
to
got,
a
you've got the sweet spot, about 10 seconds or so.
So
And
it's okay to put a little drama, a little comedy, a little dancing, stuff.
Whatever you're comfortable with. And do know this, guys, this is real, this is huge. I've been a casting director since headshots were black and white. And I've seen a huge, we fought that. We did not want to go to color. I can't tell you why now. I can't even tell you. We thought it was like, when we'd see a color one come in. Now I can imagine them all being black and white. And then we went to the next stage where I told you about already. We would have to take the tape to pro tape after we shot it and go through all the hell of trying to get it into overnight. And it was horrible. I am old. Now, you may not ever come to my physical audition for projects. There's a lot of people that don't even know when I'm holding auditions anymore. They used to always know. But now, I get to do a lot by video. So it behooves you to get some good lights that show both of your eyes. I have had people send me headshots where this whole side, or not headshots, videos, auditions where the whole side of their face is dark, or we can't even see their eyes. How dumb is that? But there are some movies that I've been booking straight from their videos. I get the video in, then I contact them and I say, I need another video because it's a callback. Or sometimes we're doing Skypes. I've literally booked people off of their Skypes. So that's real important. You made me think of something a minute ago. Okay. Shoot. There's so much and there's so little. You would think that this is rocket science, huh? Have you gotten anything out of
I think you were going to
this?
offer me a part or something, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Was
Was that it? Was that it? I actually do have one called Black Friday, White Friday coming in that's using people in your age group.
No problem.
And Renaissance Girl.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, I went to the Renaissance Festival. Anything, you guys? Come on, help me here.
I got more questions. You want more questions?
Go.
I want to
Okay.
clarify, so you do think we should have agents?
Have
Should have
what?
an agent?
Yes.
Okay.
Have an agent if you can get an agent. Because again, the rank and file sometimes in Actors Access don't even get a call because I am full and booked with the agent represented talent. And represented talent, again, you've got skin in the game. You've had to audition with somebody, you've had to get your materials prepared, and I can trust you. Oh, I know, and I don't know why I thought of it when you were talking, but you know how with parents, the kid is always his kid or her kid when, mom or dad's kid when they're bad? Guess what else happens? I get that phone call. You know it's your talent kid on my set? No kidding. It's my fault what you do. I hear everything that happens. If you go and be a diva, It's coming straight down the pipe to me, I promise you, because I'm somehow responsible for your behavior.
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's just say like you're about to sign with an agent, but I mean, okay, what if they're from Dallas? I live in Austin. They have an agent that wants to sign you from Dallas, but you feel that you don't want to sign because you don't want to commit to something that.
Dallas agents, it used to be that I recommended that you have an Austin or San Antonio agent, because this is the Austin area, and you go ahead and have a Houston agent, and you go ahead and have a Dallas agent.
I guess what my question would be like, would you, it's because I feel like I could get a better agency maybe, that the agent wants to sign me, it's a little bit smaller agency, and I feel like I can get more
Who is it?
opportunity. It's just,
I was gonna, oh, you do a hypothetical, okay, I was gonna tell you whether or not you should sign with him. There are, it doesn't matter. Now, you should have one Texas agent. And there's a new Richard, in, which we now have a name for him, he's the Richard. But we used to call them actors, are they worth it? Are they worth it actors? Are they worth the trouble actors? And this guy is worth the trouble, he's pushing it really hard.
Did y'all get what Richard meant, by the way?
yeah.
I had to have it explained.
It's an English thing, it's a, you know, Dick, Richard. Right.
Yeah, it's gonna now be the Richard. We've got the Richard. He has coined a new phrase.
I was so worried that I had said the wrong thing because no one understood what I meant, but then Alvaro got up and he got it immediately, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm a mistake.
So you know the background here.
I know, I was worried about that too.
So you know the background. I rode with this guy. We went down to Houston to a premiere of his film, Land of Leopold, a couple days ago, and chattered for 3 hours there and chattered for 3 hours back. And I have a bad habit of just saying what I think, just phew, there it is. And I knew I used names in some of these divas that we, you know, well, how about so-and-so? and then he starts talking about it, and I was about ready to crawl under the table, but then he called him a Richard and redeemed me completely.
Yeah, well, these are known people too. They've done a lot of stuff, and they're respected at one level, but
And the only reason why I'll call some of these people is if I'm absolutely forced to. Because I know I'm going to get the call every time this woman goes out telling me what she's done on set. Oh, well, she won't wear the makeup, or she doesn't like her wardrobe, or put on whatever they want you to wear, look however they want you to look. That's what they've got you there for.
Are there certain agencies that you go to first because you know they're reliable and their talent will go, so some will not get?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just like anything else in the world. People are people. Humans are humans. It's not like it's preferential, but it is, because I know that this agent and this agent and this agent will not only get me the talent, get it to me quickly, and remind me that I thought about the video. Don't let me forget to talk to you about video and timeliness. But, so I know that if I go to this agent, like for example, I was doing Bigfoot Wars, and I was out in this little bitty town called Mineola, and at 3:30 in the afternoon, I've already gotten, let me see, 5 Bigfoots out there. One of their criteria is they had to be 6'4" and above. And I hear in passing between the first AD and the director and the DP that they needed another one there the next day. And I'm just happening to walk by, because I'm also the second AD on this set, and I happen to hear it, and I freaked out. Because, you know, when were you guys going to tell me? Because I'm also the casting director. And I had to get this guy here, and do you know how hard it is to get that many tall guys? And get them in, like, when they got on their Bigfoot makeup, their sci-fi makeup, it was at least 200 degrees inside of those suits. So, anyway, I heard that, I knew the agent to call. I knew who to call, that she would come, she would drop everything, and she would find me that guy right away. And she did, and he got in. He had to get in the car 1 hour later and drive almost all night to get there. But he did, and he was there, and nobody knew he hadn't slept. He actually pulled into the parking lot of the hotel and slept in his car for 3 hours.
Dedication.
Yeah, oh, and timeliness. Guys, okay, so you're on Actors Access and you're now starting to enter the world of auditions. And you get a request for a video audition. This drives me crazy. I have to choose a deadline, you know about this, I have to choose a deadline on when I can get these videos in. Like I say, I'll give you 13 days or however many days. I really need it yesterday. I really need it as fast as you can get it done. But I have to put a little later date on it because, well, then I start getting the calls. Oh no, the deadline's passed. Can we please submit a video? And I know I use all these little voices because that's exactly how I hear it in my head. But make sure, I mean, get that video done as soon as you can record it, do it, and send it in. Because I hate those emails and calls. Yes.
I also want to let people know that if you want to change your headshot on Actors Access, sometimes it takes 24 hours for the new picture to show up. So when you get your new headshot, upload it immediately and not at the last minute because it may not pop up. That includes new headshots too. So.
And this lady here knows a whole lot because she's actually willingly stuck her foot in the fire and come and help at an audition. So you've seen it on the outside too, and you've seen all the frantic running. Were you there for the one stupid one that I still talk about that we were doing back-to-back, 2 different auditions? We were doing Bigfoot Wars and Land of Leopold back-to-back in 2 different rooms. Never do that. We had 6 feature films going that we were casting at the same time, the year before, not this fall, the fall back. And we had 6 feature films that we were casting at one time. That's Can you imagine? I mean, wrap your head around all that. That's why you won't hear anything. And I stupidly, my clients wanted to have the audition at the exact same time. So I ran 2 audition rooms and tried to, and my daughter, Ashley, and you will meet her eventually, is my assistant. She's very well trained and really awesome. And she was in one room and I was in the other, and we were holding simultaneous auditions. It was crazy. We made it.
And then the director said, "Can you make that guy play the piano?"
Oh, and yes.
Fortunately for me.
They said, we really need a guy with white hair, and it has to be long, and he needs a big beard, and that's what we need, and we need him to be able to play a concert piano. Can you do that for us the day of the audition? And then we called him.
They'd already set up with the white-haired beard, but not the piano. So the room was full of white-haired and bearded people who didn't play the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had an inside call that said, "Get over here, you'll get the part," and I did.
Winning.
That's the way it works sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great to see that, you know, y'all struggle as much as we do, and we get the call and you don't have to do it.
Yeah, we do. We struggle. Oh, you can't even imagine.
Because a lot of us are like, oh, I want to get the part. And then you guys are the same thing. Like,
Yeah, that's why I want you to know this. I want you to know we are in the same boat. We are talent. We are all being judged nonstop. We're being judged by our clients. We're being judged. We're being judged unrealistically. I mean, Suzanne Weiner was here, and she was on the panels you saw, and she said the funniest thing. She said, "Karen," she said, "I know that this is when you want to shoot yourself in the head. When they say, well, you know, they give you this list of named talent, right, and they have no budget. And they want us to, like, just try. Well, every time I call the agent and I get through, I get through now. Once upon a time I didn't, so I know the difference. And I get right through to the person that I need. And then I have to wait for them to tell me no. And I know they're going to tell me no. But the filmmaker is like, I've got the best script in the world, and they're just going to do it for no money. And not going to happen, people. Not going to happen. However, sometimes you get lucky. I had Judd Nelson coming in. I had C. Thomas Howell, you know, during that one group, the age group. You guys know who these people are? Okay, C. Thomas Howell, and then we was on set. We had to fly Judd Nelson in. He was working on, I don't remember. He was working in Canada. We had to fly him out of Canada, fly him into our set to do a 2-day cameo. He had to get on the plane. He wanted to get into Dallas, and he wanted to drive a car, so we had to rent him a car so he could drive and collect himself. And so he drove to the set, and he did his thing. And then we took off with his car and got on his plane and went back. So it can happen that way. He was a pretty decent name. But you'd be surprised. The directors, a lot of times, and writers, they're in love with their work. But I'm going to tell you, on the business end, they have to be marquee, And they have to have the budget to pay those people, because those people don't just sit around and read the scripts and fall in love with the work. Does it happen every now and then? Of course, there's an exception. The $7,000 miracle in El Mariachi, wasn't that El Mariachi? That doesn't happen. I mean, everybody now wants to make a film for $7,000. Guys, it doesn't happen. I've got one trying to make right now that I don't want anybody to audition, and they've got $55,000 in the bank. But I'm still worried because I read the script. I know they're going to need more money than that. So that's the benefit of when you go through a casting director.
Yeah.
As an actor.
Hello, my name is Doris, which premiered here at South by. Was Sally Field did that for $50,000. Total budget, her paycheck was $50,000. So, you know, you're right, sometimes they do it. Lightning strikes in a bottle, but don't expect it twice. And like she said, it was really to prove, I think, that she's backing independent films. I mean, she did it for her career, yes, but also for the fact that she's been touting independent films where it's at, you know, anybody with a camera shoot. So she did one.
How long was she here? How many days for $50,000?
She said she did guerrilla shoots. Actually rented the restaurant and shot in a restaurant without notifying the people in permit sometimes, and they ran out. She said she literally, she said it was a thrill at first, but then she said it was kind of wore it off really quickly. But in a home where they actually shot in someone's house, there was not cleaned up props. It was not, you know, allergen free. It wasn't all those things that she's used to having. So again, I think she did it. It's a one-time deal. Don't call her again. She's not going to do it. She has 2 Oscars. They like her. They really, really like her. So she's not going to do it again.
Yeah.
But it was one-time deal. So I'm a stupid. I don't know much. I'm new. I want a question for you.
Okay.
Should I do background acting? Because I get called a lot to do background acting, and you know, I take it. I go and I do it. I love being an actor and on screen. What do you think?
We touched on that. There is this big myth that once you get to be a principal actor, that it's somehow going to hurt you if you go on set as background. Well, that's idiocy, because every time it's like you pay for your acting classes, right? You may get, at the very least, by going into background, you're going to get fed and hang out with other actors and learn all day long.
IMDb credit.
Yes.
And I've heard stories about Bruce Willis in the background on Legal Eagles, someone said, so he could get a SAG card. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true.
Well, some productions you can qualify and it gives you some points. It's kind of, some things do and some things don't. But yes, that could happen too.
7 upgrades. I've had 7 speaking lines when I went on to be a background actor, including with Beth McConaughey. 7 upgrades on a film. And I can name for my agent team. I was a background actor on there, and I was told, you got it. And now I'm up for a role with American Crime, because I was brought in twice now by Beth Setko to be looked at. And I've only been featured background on that one. So I say, do it.
Hey,
But I want to hear someone else say it, because I still have time to see tag, and people say back to me, say, well, you say that, but I've heard casting directors say the opposite, so.
Some people do. Sometimes they just say it to hear themselves talk and they're not telling you the truth. They're just saying it, like, here, let me take a position.
You heard it here. It's on tape somewhere.
I was an extra in Balls Out because my friends, I'm a composer and I've done composing work for these filmmakers, and they just did their first feature, and they know that I do Merlin, and they thought it'd be funny in the LARPing scene to have Merlin as a college professor dressed up as Merlin, you know, the movie story, in the background. So I went out and did a background thing as a cameo, and I did it for my friends, but I got it, it's an IMDb. You know, I'm in Balls Out, interviewable beforehand.
Right.
And the upgrade, just so you know, for a casting director, oh, it's so wonderful when this happens. When a production calls me and they say, oh my God, we can't find this one character, Karen, will you please find him for us, will you please find him, and we'll give you full casting credit. So then I only have to cast one character, and then I get casting credit for the whole film. It's happened twice, and I'll admit it because I loved it.
If you look at Brock Allen's stuff, you see Brock Allen's website, it's still in the lead story. They did it in Mile American. They had one person, he was walking up the stands, the Pizzo saw him and said, he looks like the Arkansas coach. Get him. Brought him downstairs, paid his SAG card, didn't just give him a SAG eligible, paid it off his SAG card totally, gave him a full-scale paycheck for the rest of his time on set. He's a Westlake High School coach regularly. You can read his whole story on Brock Allen. Are they happy? Yes, because they are full credited for that movie as casting.
Yeah,
And before
they
that,
did
they were
that.
doing background, hundreds a day, but they don't get their name in the beginning of that film and it says CSA. They get it now. And that's why they're happy about that one cast. And it's, again, it's a great story,
Well, they
again, of a
moved up from
background
casting
artist.
department to casting director.
Right.
I mean, how great is that? So yes, we're looking for moms too.
Right.
I don't know time, guys. Are we done?
What's your?
Hope not.
3:12. What time are we going till?
It says be there at 3:45.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Yes.
If you're willing or allowed to drop a few names, which agencies might a budding actor look to or maybe not look to?
I can't say not look to in here because
Sure.
there's too many people around that could share it and I could get in trouble, and then when I need that agency, I can't get them again, right?
Yeah.
But there's a couple that I am completely enamored with their effort lately. And one of them was the Bigfoot Wars one. It's called Zephyr, and it's a new one, and she's hungry, and she is filling a roster.
You spell it?
And Zephyr, Z-E-P-H, it's a weird spell.
Y-R.
Y-R, thank you. And she is hungry, and if I am in a spot, I will always get on the phone with Kim and Tori Christopher. Tori Christopher is spot on, and he's building his roster, and we've been really, really happy with him lately. I mean, but the other agents, we call in all the agencies, so if you're represented by someone else, don't just sigh and think, you know, they're not gonna call him, because we are. Now, are we human? And like I said, yes, well, we have a pecking order. Like the way my screen opens, I either get the actors and then down to bottom I get all the agents. So will I go to the agencies I trust and know that their talent will be on time and ready and blah, 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 and that they're held accountable? Yeah, I'll go through and I'll click on an agency and I'll look at all that agency's talent first. And then I'll click on, and then that puts them out of the order you're talking about too. And then I'll click on some of those agencies that I know. I mean, I have to, guys, you know? I mean, we all do. Everybody does this because we are in the same boat as you are, and we need to have success. And I don't know how many are completely honest about it like I'm being, so.
And your agency needs to be one that does auditions to get in. Your agency is only strong as its weakest link. So if you're linked with somebody that didn't do their lines or didn't do something well even 5 years ago, it's coming back to haunt you. So I won't mention names either because I like to, you know, not get punched in the face on set. But I will tell you, there are people around that tell me all the time, they'll never use them. So, and they're in the group, they're in CTAG, and what I mean by that is, I look at the individual. And so your individual work counts on you, and if you're late and you whatever, then yeah, we look at you as maybe not potential for the group. But the idea of the agencies that have you walk in the door and they sign up, if you're the agency, you know someone calls you or posts up, hey, I got an agent today because I walked in and they gave me the job, that's who you're now sided with as long as you're in that agency, is that people can walk in and get that job. Without IMDb credit, without having any kind of demo reel, without any body of work.
They're untested.
So if you want to see that, like you say, well, they're who is Matthew McConaughey with, who is Sandy with, all that stuff, guess what? Yeah, it's a higher tier, because they didn't just walk in the door and get that agent. So you might look at that as another back door. I know I did when I was shopping for agencies. I was looking around and asking casting directors. I called the casting directors myself and said, what do you think? And they said, well, I don't know much about them. That's all I need to know. Moving on. Or I hear someone say, I got an agent today, I walked in the door and they hired me because I look pretty. Well, great, don't we all? After years of makeup and hours of makeup, sure. But I'm saying, if you got that on your resume, that you're with an agency that hires people off the street, you're attached to that agency like that.
Yeah, the
So
harder
do
it
your
is to get with
research
an agent.
and then get your agency to up the scale a little bit. Even tell them what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Hey, that person over there didn't do this, didn't do that, whatever, and they're with us, really? Because it's not to get rid of them, it's to raise your stock, get them in classes, put them. Everyone's got that. I mean, even Breakout offers classes, so get in there, get in classes, get better, get them better. But if you're attached with somebody out there that's ruining their name in the industry, and you're with that agency, you're going down with the ship.
Yeah, that agency has disappointed me too many times, or I can't count on them as my ace in the hole. They're not going to get priority. The ones that come through and perform. This is a business. There's thousands of dollars each day being spent on this set. All these people that are hired to be there, this little beehive of activity, and if the actor doesn't do what they're there to do, By the way, guys, when you get hired on set, know this. The second you get on set, crew is king. You're nothing. You are a prop that eats. All of you. Even if you know Lance Henriksen, I had him on set, I've held the umbrella over his head, I've gotten in the ice to keep him cool, but he still knows he's a seasoned, awesome actor. I use him every chance I get because he is, and he does expect to be whisked away from set the second he's done and all of that, which we do, but also when he's on set, he stays quiet, he stays humble, he stays out of the way because the crew is king. They are it. But if you think about it, I mean, if you've been on a set, and these are the things you'll see on a set that will give you new respect. That PA that you may have thought had a do-nothing job, you watch him at 106 degrees out in the middle of nowhere, and he's picking up that sandbag to move that light one more time, and you're like, I can barely pick my feet up. I have infinite respect for this person because they're still doing it. Because that's what has to happen or you can't get it made. I mean, like buying insurance. This is just stories, guys, at this point, but you buying insurance for production. You can't, the minute you're 1 foot away from a shore, your camera equipment isn't covered anymore. So if we're hanging over some water, which we've done, and a snake comes up and the camera's hanging out there, that PA has to stay right there. And by the way, that was a poisonous snake. And he had to stay right there and that snake and just be real still so the snake would go by. Because he had a red hanging out over that water.
Yeah, Lance, I did human play with him, he's very opinionated, very much so, until the director walks up. And he becomes very humble. But he'll tell me, I have a 3-take rule, and he tells me his little rule and how it works. But you know what, the director says, okay, let's do it again, 4 takes. He doesn't ever say, hey, wait, I have a 3-take rule. His rule is in his head to teach him how to get his, first one is for practice, second one is to get it down, third one should be perfect. Why should we need fourth? But when the director said, we're going to go again, he doesn't say, no, I did it 3 times, I did the 3-take rule. But again, he
would do it the 4th time.
He will do it 4th and 5th, he will do it and not complain. And so again, very opinionated, very open to that nature, but very professional. And that's a constant thing I find with all these people that are at that level is there's professionalism that runs through that vein, and if we want it, that's where we got to be.
Do you guys know Lance Henriksen? He's the actor that you've seen a bajillion times.
Played an alien, played the commander, and
He played Bishop. We got pulled over twice for speeding tickets when he was in the back, and both times the cop came walking up to the car going, Bishop! They had this little speed trap. It's not like we were crazy driving. They had a little speed trap kind of on the way home from set, and he got snagged twice and didn't get a ticket either time. But he didn't flaunt who he was. It was the cop who saw who he was.
Right.
Bishop is obviously that's one person. I just love it. Those are some of the perks and the fun parts, guys. Like when I dial Lance's number and he picks up the phone, hi, Karen, honey, with that voice. Do you guys know the voice?
Oh, yeah.
It's a great voice. It's so amazing. And I'm like, God, you answered your phone. This is so cool. Yay me. So anyway. It's true. Okay. So every time I do something like that, it completely changes my thought process. Do you guys have any questions anymore? Okay. Well, you haven't been in the industry long, lots of you, since the show of hands earlier. I want you to know our industry is picking up. We've had one of the slowest years we've ever had. And by the way, casting directors do not like to be called casting agents. They don't like their offices to be called agencies. Don't ever, you can call them a CD, you can call them a casting director, but don't call them an agent, because they don't like that much. I don't know why. I even bristle, and I'm not sure why, but I do. It's like, I'm not an agent. Grinding, gears grinding. I've got three, well, actually, if we call that little $55,000 film, if it makes, we've got 4 films in pre-production. We've started having calls. I think the Department of Agriculture is, the production arm of my business. I opened an acting school. And the reason we did that was because we've got coaches that are wonderful coaches, and they teach the actors acting. but they don't teach, a lot of them don't teach the business side. And so when we formed For Reals, that's why we did it. We decided we would form an acting school, have our studios, combine Edgin Productions, which you saw Nicole, she was a speaker, combine Edgin and Casting Works LA in the same building, which has worked out really, really, really well for us. But that's where you'll come. Like, don't be confused if you come up and you see Casting Works LA, Edgin Films, and For Reals, School of Film on the door, because that's all us. So that's why your little cards have two sides, which I thought was ever so clever when I did it. Then I saw his. Shut up. He did it already, and his probably was done a long time before mine, but I'd never seen that, and I thought it was ever so
But mine actually appear on thin air, see, like that.
That's right.
Wait, I didn't see it.
Oh.
Oh,
Make sure you
Really
go
good
to
guys.
Sherwood Forest this year. This guy's great as
I
murder.
actually do both sides. Oh, I can't. There you go.
I have no more, active listening. Oh, that's a good one, that's important. Active listening. Sometimes people look at the sides that I pick and they wonder, well, this other person has all these lines and I don't have, I mean, you know, should we just start here and then cut to here and skip this part? Of course not. More happens as an actor when you're not talking than when you're talking. You know, if you're beginning, let me tell you, don't fall into this trap. And it happens in theater a lot because theater's not right here. The persons are waiting for the last couple of words on their, you know, line before. How do I know? I've done that. I started out as an actor. You know, you listen for your cue. Sometimes you're messed up because you listen for your cue and they get their line wrong and you don't get your cue. But what happens during that time when you're waiting for your place to talk is your face goes dead. And you're not actively listening. All you're doing is waiting for your cue. Wait till they get done saying whatever they're saying. There's two rules of and you're going to experience this, and I don't know who in town does it, maybe Carlton or Mark can tell us. There's two schools of thought on readers. My school of thought is I want to give you something. So when I have a reader, I want them to interact with you. So if we're saying check-in and breakfast and welcome, we'll say it like that, and then you can say whatever it is you have to say back, and we give you some meat to work with. We, you know, act with you. Well, some people believe that that's wrong. They feel like the actor should bring everything. Everything should come with the actor. So they read as monotone as they possibly can. And you say your line. And then it's terrible. But they're doing it because they feel like you need to. The reason I think that's foolish is there's no more artificial environment in the world for an actor than an audition. Let's face it. That is the worst thing ever. We have a room, you get brought in the room, you get thrown on the mark, you don't have any props, you don't have any other actors, you have nothing to work with. You can't even see. When you're on set, you're going to see it all. If you're in a library and you're talking about a book, the whole wall of books will be there. So you're really looking at a book. In my audition, I'm going to say, okay, I want your eye, we're talking to two people, I want your eye line here and I want your eye line here. And say, you know, we need it tight, stand up, Mark. We need it tight. I might say, shingle, please. And so what I want you to do is I want your shoulder behind my shoulder, or, you know, not mine, but the other actor. When you're this close, it looks foolish to your eyes, but the camera won't see it this way. And then if he and I are talking to each other, I don't want a profile of you. I don't want you standing like this. So I'll tell Mark, I'll say eye line there, and my eye line's here. And we're going to talk to each other like we're really looking at each other just like this. And the camera sees us looking at each other. No kidding. It does not see what you just saw with your own eyes. It's just the same way as a theater actor who comes in the room with all their charisma. There was one in particular, I loved this woman, and I tried to be able to cast her. When she came in and she walked in, and this whole aura surrounded this girl when she came in the door, and she'd get on the mark and it would still be there, and the camera saw wooden woman. It never saw, I just didn't see her. For whatever reason, it all went away when the camera didn't see it. Whereas someone else, that's why never judge yourself. Someone else who isn't spectacular comes in and that camera, they are suddenly, you know, Miss America. It's crazy, but it really does.
You think it's a natural thing, or that can be learned?
I don't think that can be
I
learned.
This is
think,
why-
like, as a photographer, you can look at a person and you don't see their beauty, but then once you take your picture, you're like, oh my gosh, what happened between my eyes, and the film?
And have you seen someone become dull to that camera? And there's no explaining
Like they
that.
don't shine or something like that. There's something that is missing within their eyes or whatever, and the film won't capture that. But
Do
when you
you
look at it, it's
think
like,
that that can be trained? I mean, that was a good question. Do you think that training can get over that? I don't know. This girl never did get over that. I can't think of who I know that ever has. Maybe it's because they never did really train.
it's like that saying, what, the camera loves them,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. My daughters also were actors, and they used to think it was funny because people would tell them, wow, you look, camera, you look so much better on the camera. They were teenage girls, they were not very holding of that. But it's true, the camera did like them. The camera loves some people, and they look very plain to your eye, but the camera is like, ta-da!
I don't know what happened.
So along with some of these lines, I have a question more on the other side. Like, I don't know what to do because I want more information. Because you run into that. You come in and someone is reading the sides to respond to, and the camera's there, but the person's like sitting on the floor over here reading the lines.
Eyeline. If you don't know where to look,
If you don't-
look right past the camera.
Just look
Like
at the
pick a
camera,
place
past the camera.
behind, not
Yeah,
the
just-
camera, but
just-
right
yeah,
above
just
it.
pass
Like,
it and stay
you
there.
see those little things above his shoulder
Yeah,
where he's
just stay
pointing?
there.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Because you can't see what he's seeing, but it almost looks like I'm looking at the camera right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking at the camera because
Directly, because that'd be
if you
weird.
look directly at the camera, it becomes too intimate.
Yeah.
And so you don't want it too intimate for the people watching you. You just want them to feel you.
Because never are you going to be looking directly at the camera unless you're breaking the fourth wall.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Might a director choose to have their reader sit on the floor so that your head, or because they want a certain angle from you, or is
They
that
will
not
do
gonna happen?
just about anything.
I personally think
They-
it's because they don't have a clue about that. They're not thinking about that.
I don't know.
'Cause the
Usually
auditions-
what we do is we have the reader right kind of beside the camera so you can interact. But you know what? Just as soon as I tell you that this is nuts, there'll be someone come along and do it. I've seen, God, I mean, I've had thousands of auditions and I have seen really, well, again, the one eye thing, that still blows me away. And that was years ago. One eye. I don't know what he really thought he was gonna get out of that one eye, but he had me do it every single time and he'd go,
Give me more eyes.
no, he would do that to me, you know, pull in, pull in, pull in, pull in. Yeah, and you won't see it, but when we're having callbacks and my director, if I have a director, I put them strategically right where I can see them in my peripheral vision, and they'll let me know if I need to let someone go. Please don't ever be insulted, but usually you can't see it, because when I have a good director, and most of them are, they would never let the talent know. There are some that will. I mean, do not let that crush you. Do not.
Thank you. Yep.
But they will, yeah, there's some that'll just blow you off and tell me, okay, okay. And you're like, you know, that's awful. So in that case, then I'll walk over and try to walk you out and chat you up a little bit, because I don't want crushed actors either. Crushed actors are never gonna be good actors. If your ego is destroyed, you're never gonna be able to do this. Because you've gotta have a very healthy ego. No, really, don't you? Wouldn't you say that's true? I mean, your ego has to be sound. You have to feel comfortable and you have to feel within yourself and have an organic feeling about you that has confidence. Because if you don't, it will crush you.
And you need a cheerleader in your life, and you need a support group in your life.
Mhm.
And you need to learn to let things go.
And you need to learn to
And
forget
walk
as you
out.
walk out that threshold.
Walk out, say, pick, whatever.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, I mean, I was an actor, I was at many, way too many years ago. I was an actor, and I remember wondering, you know, has that commercial or has that part, and have they filled it yet? Oh, God, you know, when do I stop hoping? Perfectly natural response. And especially after you've learned, maybe you've read a whole script, and you've learned the part, and you've seen yourself as that person, and you've gone in, and you've given it your all, and then you hear nothing. And the next time that you look at IMDb, the part you were auditioning for that you wanted so badly is
Some
there.
smug got it.
That's funny, because I think you emotionally involve yourself with the script. Like, you're like, oh, I love the script, it's so me and whatever, and then you're not getting, you're like, well, it's
Son of-
like somebody died, you know, you're like, oh.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, especially when you do, you know, if you do the work. Especially if you're going in there and going, okay, they only gave me this part. It says that I'm a colonel in the Air Force, and I'm reading a part where I'm actually, you know, belittling a guy on, you know, in a scene. Okay, well, am I a colonel? Am I divorced? Do I have kids? Have I been in for a long time? I'm a pilot? What kind of colonel am I? You know, have I been good my whole career? Am I a bad guy? If you're doing the work in this, the work that we do to get these parts, people ask all the time, how do you get booked all the time? It's the work. Because it's not just reading what's on that page when I walk in and go, all right, Private, what are you doing there? It's not it. It's what's my motivation? Where have I come from? Am I a good guy? You know, did I just get back from war? Am I fatigued? Am I tired? I bring all of that in to that casting director, not just the 5 lines that say, Private, what are you doing? You know, you're in trouble. I'm gonna whatever. No, it's all that behind, it's not even there. Well, Carlton, why do you do all that? Because it comes out in all those techniques you just said. You know, it comes out in my eyes, because that's all they're looking at. Or it comes out in my face, because it's all they want to see. And, you know, it's so much of that. So doing the work
Something
is
going on behind your eyes.
Right. But then
That's the
again,
best
you leave that,
headshots too.
that's noon, and then by 3 o'clock, I'm playing a doctor. You know, it's a wholly different, a completely different demo, I mean, a completely different audition reel going in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon than I did that morning. New lines, new other thing, and same thing. What's the doctor doing? Is he a big hospital, an ER? Was he been a good doctor? You know, you do all the work, and it gets exhausting, but at the same time, it gets so rewarding when they call you back and they say, you got picked. I got picked, you had 2,000 people read for that, you know, or in the game show where it's a national thing or whatever, it's like, how and why? Do the work. Do the work. I mean, that's the basic between it.
Even in your headshots, like his, see, there's something going on behind his eyes. That's, if you have a backstory, you have a possibility that organically something will be going on back there. But if you're just doing a line, it's flat, and it shows. It just shows.
Hello.
And
That's,
everybody listen.
it's more of a promo.
That's awesome.
That's your
You look
backstory.
badass.
Your phone was left in the lobby. We are in a class with Karen Hallford, and we're upstairs.
Did you just take that one right now?
Yeah. This is the phone we found outside.
Oh, from the
Oh.
Took
picture.
it quite a few times.
So the picture.
Let me go there.
So we'll see you in a minute.
Does anybody know whatever happened to Kim?
She took off.
No
Probably over
idea.
to Glenn to get ready, right?
Oh, yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She just hung me out to dry.
No,
You don't worry about any
No, I
bio, which I
I hung it
didn't
to
do.
dry. I have your bike. She sent it to me and said, I have to go to Premium Blend. We're already late, so.
And you were supposed to introduce me to everybody?
This is Karen Hall for everybody. So when y'all see Kim Wolfman say, I did it, don't tell her I didn't do that.